Yo, what's good, duelist? So, today I have been looking at my phone, checking out Twitter, and I've been seeing a little bit of some misconceptions. So, I figured I would go over how each hand trap affects this deck. I feel like I've kind of like alluded to it mostly in my other videos, but we'll just go over it like pretty thoroughly right here. So, I have Snake Eye Ash. And this is going to be the most common. Obviously, I could have Bonfire, and I could add Snake Eye Ash. So if this were Bonfire, we're gonna go over the hand traps in my hand. So if this were Bonfire, I'm playing versus these hand traps. Obviously, I get hit harder by Droll because usually I'm adding Snake Eye Ash off Bonfire, so that makes Droll an even better card. Um, but like that makes Droll even better than like Valor, Imperm, Ash if I use Bonfire, right? That's broken because now my Ash is basically negated for the whole first effect, because they've already added off Bonfire. Now, if I go normal summon Ash, effects, add Poplar. Yep, they changed the name. How nice. And then they go Droll. What does this do? Because I just saw that this is worse than Nip. I just hate when people say like shit's strictly worse than the other. It's like I don't even know how where you came up with that. Okay, so I go chain link 1 Poplar, they go chain link 2 Droll, negate. So obviously, if I get Drolled here, you may be saying, well, that's not really that good. You still get to all of your Snake Eye engine. You're gonna get a free body. You're gonna get a flame bridge. I mean, if you play Oak, you can even get like an IP Masquerena plus 2 level 1s. So like, because we would summon Flame Bridge, then we'd link with the Flame Bridge and Oak, or we'd link with the Ash and the Flame Bridge after we special Oak, use Oak effects, get Flame Bridge. Then we'd have Ash plus Poplar, or we had Flame Bridge plus Poplar. We make the IP, we special bag our 2 level 1s, and then we end on this through Droll. So that might be making you feel like, damn, Droll's some shit. But if they're playing the Fire King or even Jet Synchron, you've just cut off that entirely. Even if they open, say, like a Fire King Island, you can't use it. So that's why Droll is actually like pretty fucking good versus this deck, because playing versus the Fire King, like they have to open it. Like they have to open literally Kieran or Garunix is the only 2 cards they could open. It's like 4 cards out of the whole deck, so it's not a lot of cards. So that's why Droll isn't just like bad, which is like what tends to happen with Droll is everyone gravitates to it towards the start of the format, and then it goes out of style quickly, just because it's a neg 1 inherently. And like you just saw, they still got like so much stuff, but they're really just link climbing. That's all they're doing when you Droll them. And I think cutting off that Fire King package just still like makes Droll very viable. And I was wondering, even like, I'm curious if the OCG, if they were using Droll on their own turn versus Maxi. So I could definitely see that being a possibility. Your opponent draws 1 off Maxi. You're kind of done searching, so you just Droll. Then you get to link climb still. Because Maxi is very good versus this deck. And I can see why that might have made Pure worse over there. But enough of that. Okay, and then obviously, let's go over like Retaliating C. So you go normal summon Ash, you go activate effects. This is kind of like obvious. I mean, if you bonfired, Retaliating C might be good. But we go Poplar, we go Ash, we go summon our Oak effect, special. We special the Ash bag. We get the Ash bag, then we do this, like you've probably seen a million times now. So then we get our Flame Bridge, right? And the problem here is we didn't add our original. Where the hell were you going to Retaliating C? Also, most people, like, this is where most people activate their original. So if you go, chain Retaliating C, I'm like, sure, whatever gets banished. But, just like Flame Bridge effect, like, oh, I accidentally sent it to the graveyard instead of declare. All right? Like, I could just go Flame Bridge effect. Bam. So normal summon Ash beats your tech, which isn't a good sign. It's just a problem that it requires a spell effect. Obviously, it could be kind of broken if your opponent activates Bonfire, but we don't play around. We don't play techs for unsearchable 3-ups, right? So I think Retaliating C kind of sucks. Okay, and then Nibiru. So we got normal summon Ash. I guess I should just leave these cards out here. Ash effect. Add Poplar. Because I think people hate on Nibiru too much, or like think it's like godly, and like it's really neither. It's really just an okay card worth considering playing. Probably better versus this deck than a lot of others, and the overlap is why you would consider some of these hand traps over the others for sure. Also, I wanted to add Ash to my hand as well to talk about that. So we go Ash, add Poplar, do the whole oak combo. So we end with like Flame Bridge and Ash, like we've just seen like a million times. A lot of the time they'll go Sunlight Wolf because they want to add back their Flame Bridge, especially if they have another fire. And you still have Original, right? And then right here is basically most people will probably nip here. They don't want you to get the Link Rebo in the grave to die, so your level 1's just never get negated for the rest of the game. The Sunlight trigger was obviously just like no matter what, so they had Flame Bridge. This could have also been just an IP, but I still think they don't want to risk you going into Apo, and they don't want the Link Rebo in grave. They don't want you to go to Promethean Princess for that to be in grave. So this is where they nib, and nib's actually kind of like still valuable here. If they don't have anything else, they're still just ending on a nib token. Like they need extenders, right? Or they need to play like Link Spider technically for original. So nib's not the worst here. I definitely would say, and you get a free body with that nib. The body's definitely important, I think, too. But and then if people, this is the great thing about nib, is if people decide, you know what, people aren't making Appaloosa anymore because that was like the old play. You'd go Link Rebo into Heat Soul, pay 1,000, draw a card, then make Appaloosa with your remaining 2 bodies. So if people aren't doing that play, I might just hold Nib to the end unless they can get to Arvada. That's when I'm Nibiru. When they get to Arvada, and then I'll just get I'll get a Promethean Princess. You probably won't get that because if they're doing the Arvada line, they would special Arvada off Promethean Princess. But yeah, they're gonna end on even if they say they can't do the Arvada play, their end board is usually not gonna play super hard into Nib if they're not making Appaloosa. So that's where Nib gains more merit because people aren't playing around anymore. Everyone's saying it's shitty for some reason. And it's because if they're doing the Apple line, it's going to be shittier. Also, if they're playing Pure Snake Eye can play around Nibiru so well with Divine Temple and just like Omni Negates. They can make Savage Dragon really quickly. A lot of the time if they open Black Witch, and then they also have Divine Temple to put Oak in the Spell and Trap zone. So if you ever Nibiru them, they're still going to have 3 monsters, including the token. Okay, and then this is why some of these other hand traps are way more simple, and if you are just learning the deck, honestly, it might just be worth playing these to just make it easier on yourself. And then once you understand what players are doing, you can tech cards like Nibiru and Droll and Lockbird, because also these cards are really good versus Voiceless Voice, the rest of the meta. So if you go normal summon Ash, and then what do? We just effect veiler it. Now you have to have, the Black Witch or Open Original or Bonfire, which is definitely very possible, or Kieran. So it's veiler doesn't look the best, but, it's kind of because of the overlap I mentioned, it's all you have. And this deck does brick. We see a deck with 15 to 16 hand traps, it's going to brick. So it's not the worst play. And then there's the last thing to consider, which is just Ash Blossom. So Ash Blossom's interesting because what do we do? Because we just saw that, you know, if they open like all their hand traps, Valor can make them brick. So Ash would kind of be the same thing. If I Ash the first effect, then they could just brick. But it's hard to, like, it's so hard to just say if that's like correct or not, because you know, if they have any extender they can just play, they can still use the second effect. So sometimes, probably most of the time, I would just Ash the second effect to send to special from deck. But I don't think it's one size fit all. I mean, like, if your hand is just complete Garbo, you only have one play. Say it's like Ash, Garunix, you know, maybe Ash, Poplar, Garunix, Oak. Like, that's your hand. And Ash, and a regular Ash. So we have Snake Eye Ash, Ash Blossom, Garunix, Poplar, and Oak, right? So a really shitty hand. If my hand's that, I'm probably just going to Ash the normal summon Snake Eye Ash, right? Because why wouldn't I? I'm not playing through anything. So if they do have another extender, I'm just fucked anyway. And I don't think, like, I'm going to brick them off this because if they go add Poplar, they get original. Now they have the Fire King engine no matter what. So this Ash, you know, is not going to do anything. And then you could kind of get cute with it if you think because if they use Ash right away, they're probably going to do the Oak play, and then you can use Ash on the second on the Oak. So then they have no way for the Snake Eye engine, even with the original. But obviously, if they're playing Fire Kings, they can still get to the Snake Eye engine. So yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty good. Just like summary of, you know, hand traps this format. If there's anything I miss, I would love for you guys to talk about it. Just like a quick, I guess, where to hand trap video. Versus like Snake Eyes and overall. Just because I've seen like so many great takes on where to hand trap versus deck. But if you enjoyed, please like and subscribe. I appreciate it so much, and peace.